This is David Kaye, or Megatron, or
Optimus Prime, or Clank,
or
Zishomru, and you're listening to the FSF PopCast.
The show where the droids you were looking for were obviously hiding, because nobody looks here.
Our show is brought to you by our charity sponsor, the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund, which supports the Wish Upon a Teen Foundation that helps out sick kids when they need it most. And just imagine the comfort you'll give Red Shirt Crewman number 89. He'll know that when he puts on the red shirt and joins Guy in the quest to try green eggs and ham, that he didn't leave his family destitute and without hope, because the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund has his back and what's left of his stomach.
And now, a word from our show sponsor, Level Up Sabers. Their link can be found in the show notes.
So our guest today is the voice of both Optimus Prime and Megatron on various Transformers.
Sorry, that's too soon. Go ahead.
On various Transformers animations. He's also Clank of Ratchet and Clank. He's Jarvis in Avengers Assemble, General Hawk in G.I. Joe. And most recently, you may have heard his voice as Arishem from Marvel's blockbuster movie, Eternals. We are thrilled and excited to welcome David Kaye to the FSF Popcast. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, that's just that too soon. But thank you very much for accommodating and allowing me to be a part of the show.
Yeah, we're excited. So my problem with today is I almost don't know where to start. Because
neither do I. Any day I have no idea where to start. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I spent a little bit of time looking out all the entries on your amazing IMDb resume, all the entries on there. But due to time limitations and wanting my co-host to be able to participate at some point in the show, I'm going to take a couple deep nerd breaths, relax, and we'll start with Transformers. That's where we'll start.
All right.
So you've been part of several different animated series where you've voiced both Megatron in one and you voiced Optimus in another. You've been the leader of both sides of the Transformers wars.
Right.
How hard was it? Is it hard for you? I don't think it was because of what I saw in the preview, for you to be able to switch gears, to be able to identify with one character and then be able to identify with the other.
It was so much fun doing Megatron because it was very Shakespearean, the way it was written. And the way the character was, and the way I kind of approached it, the old analogy I use is to be or not to be. That is the question. So it's debate, Shakespeare debate. And Optimus from TF, from Transformers Animated, was. I remember, reading for it and never giving it sort of a second thought because I figured I was in touch with Sue Blue. During the audition process, hey Sue, it'll be awesome to read for this. If she'd, oh my God, honey, yes, of course So they had me read, and I read Megatron, of course, and I read another few characters, and I didn't even bother with Optimus Prime. I said, well, that's not going to happen, so I'll just stick with what I know. And then the callback came, and I knew I knew that they were considering, because I know that the late Derek Wyatt and Matt Youngberg and Marty Eisberg, they all knew of were very well aware of the backstory and my role as Megatron, and they were honoring that sort of thing, and it was kind of neat. And they had me in, and I read Megatron, a few other characters, and then it seemed to go really well. And then you stand there and you sort of wait, and then they're all talking behind the glass, and Sue Blue says, "Hey, honey, could you? We want you to take a look at Optimus Prime." I go, "Okay, sure." See, we're having difficulty finding, so it's kind of like a Tom Hanks character. He's a bit naive, and why don't you take the sides and go out and work on them and come back, and let a few people go ahead of me, and I came back in and. I really had no idea what to do other than I just thought I'd use my own voice, I guess. I started there, and I made it a little younger in the presentation. And so the direction was, he's this young leader of the Autobots, and who gave me the direction? Must have been Sue. Should just think of it as when you open your mouth and start your little speeches, the rest of them kind of give you an eye roll. And I go, oh, okay, one of those guys. I go, he's talking again. So I just kind of did this sort of thing, and who's with me? Megatron and all this. And I went, I just trying to keep them naive and use my own voice for the most part. And then, they were all sort of nodding their heads, and I said, well, that's interesting. Anyway, it was great. We had laughs. I went away and forgot about it. And a few weeks later, I'm driving through Chinatown in LA, coming off the 110, right through Chinatown. And I get a call from my agent, said, hey, it's DK, good news. They want to book you for Transformers. I go, oh, cool, awesome. And I'm thinking, and then she said, for the role of Optimus Prime. And I remember I was coming up to Temple Street. I was just about to turn right on Temple and then left and go to Disney Concert Hall, past and go down. And I said, so you mean Megatron? Or she said, no, they're booking you, they want you for Optimus Prime. And I go, Optimus Prime? Are you? And I said, are you sure? Because how's that going to work? And the first thing I think is, well, how's that going to happen? What? And anyway, I got over that, and we finally got going and recording. A couple months later, it was weird because Corey Burton was Megatron, and it was so much fun working with Corey. And every time Sue Blue would say behind the booth, "Okay, Megatron," and I'd kind of get up and I go, "Oh, right, it's not me," and I'd sit back down again. So it took a few episodes, and it took also a few episodes to kind of get into character. Like it's like when you watch the Simpsons, the early episodes, they sounded like weird. They haven't dropped in yet. And I think
right.
For anybody in the series, you finally about episode 4 or 5, I kind of dropped into my own voice and, just sort of went with this sort of thing. And that's where he stayed for the rest of the series. So that's how it all happened. It was weird in the beginning because I'm thinking, oh yeah, right, I'm a good guy. So it's just a different approach, and that eye roll in the back of your head, seeing, when you talk, but you're trying to win them over, and eventually they realize you're doing your best. And the character became a little more established as we went on. So that was fun, man. It was really cool. I didn't really think about playing, the Predacon and then the Autobot, and different variations of other characters in between. It's just been such a great relationship. And if I may add, before I quit yakking, it's people ask about, and you may ask about, well, are you disappointed that you're not asking, the movies? And sure, everybody actually sort of like. But the thing is that the fact that we actually get to inhabit these characters for a moment in time is pretty awesome. Like, it's, come on. I mean, we're all like, I'd like to do more, and then who knows down the road. But the fact that we even get a chance to do this is mind-blowing. So, just to be grateful you're given the chance, sort of the way I look at it. And that's just the way of the business.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I don't remember what guest it was, but one of our guests talked about the fact that, they didn't get a chance to do the voice in the movie, but because of especially now with all the new movies and animations that are coming out and the prevalence of video games and all these different things, he's like, there's so much more work than there ever was before. So although you're a little bummed about the fact that maybe you didn't get to be whatever this character that you did in the animated series, when it goes to the bigger screen, I didn't get to do that, but because I did this character here, it got me in the door over here.
Oh, sure. There's other things, that have come to pass, and other roles that have come up, and that's kind of cool. So it's just the career and the nature of the beast, and someone's going to make their own movie. They're going to want people in it that they want in it, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's just Hollywood.
Understood.
Hollywood, baby.
Yeah.
So I actually noticed that you've got a couple of roles that you have a duality to. You have Megatron and Optimus Prime, like we talked about. But you also played BattleCat and Cringer, as well as Professor or Charles Xavier and Apocalypse. I mean, you've got.
There he is. So cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
I felt like it was a little more common on your list of roles than some of the other voice actors we've talked to. So is this just like a crazy happenstance, or was there some sort of design to having these duality in the roles?
I don't know. I think it's just you mean as far as you mean the Cringer and the BattleCat thing, right? The recent one, the HeMan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was based off the character in Liam Neeson and the other Liam in Game of Thrones. It's coming between those two. What's the other Liam in Game of Thrones? He's
Liam Cunningham.
Yeah, Liam Cunningham. So that's a sort of like a protector. He's in here, sir, and a bit of Liam Neeson, and so he's a father figure, and he he's in BattleCat form. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm saying. But,
it's okay.
And the other one you mentioned, Charles Xavier.
Mm-hmm. And Apocalypse.
Yeah. That's kind of, it's fun to talk to yourself. I've been doing that most of my life anyway. No mic needed there.
Well, sometimes you just need a professional's opinion, and I get that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The professor, I really didn't know. I mean, it wasn't until I sort of came into the studio that day in X-Men Evolution that I'm just, you're doing Apocalypse. Like, oh, well, how's that going to work? I ask a lot. I don't ask a lot of very smart questions. I'm just amazed that I'm actually in the room doing this. To tell you the truth, I don't know really how things work. But Xavier, it's fun to play alter ego, like the opposite of the character.
Right.
That's just. It's a part of who we are, and I remember sitting having coffee once with an actor friend, and we were having an actor discussion, and he says, I don't think I have a dark side. And where me and my friend looked at each other and went, what? Oh, I don't. Well, an actor's job is to be able to go down into that well and play around and then come back. Like, that's the difference between, psychoticness and normalcy is we can think those things and helps us enable our character, but we don't go, over the lines. That's the nature of the beast. But every actor has to be able to kind of play in that world, and it's fun to be able to play the good guy and the bad guy, and it's a real mind screw. I'll tell you that sometimes. I can see,
Right, but with Apocalypse and Charles Xavier, you said it's fun talking to yourself. Do they have you run those lines back to back, or?
Yeah, some they do, and if I will do it for pace, generally the first time through, and then if it's working, we'll do it again, and if it's not, I'll just do the Xavier lines, and then I'll go back up and pick up the Apocalypse lines. But I like to do the scene first with myself, just for pacing, because each character and each I have to call them human beings. They're souls and they have heartbeats. They have their own way of speaking, right? On their own musicality. And so Apocalypse has his own there's Apocalypse, and then Xavier, Charles Xavier, Logan, yes, where is we have so many great outtakes. But he has his own thing. So it's fun to play off that. Also, it's kind of neat to be up there and everybody else is sitting down, twiddling their thumbs, waiting for you to shut up and finish your scene. I guess it's all me, everyone. Yes.
But how cool you get paid to talk to yourself.
Yeah. I mean, how to be paid to do this is mind blowing. My father saw, I think it's bad form to talk about monetary things in this, because I don't think to me is like, we get paid? Well, isn't this fun? I had no idea. My dad picked up a thing on the floor of the car once. I had to go in and actually scream on a show because they forgot to pick me up. And I went in. I wasn't in that day. Say, hey, can you come in? We're just going to pick you up a couple things, and then you can go. I said, yeah, sure. So I drove by, and it doesn't matter. I still get paid the same. But I went in and went, I did that and went back out. So, hey, let's see you guys. Take care. I got back in the car, and Dad sort of saw it by mistake, and he said, is that all you did? I go, yeah, I had to go in and do bigger. So, well, is that what you get? And I go, no, don't put that down. And then it was, I worked 30 years in City Hall and so.
Such a dad response.
What, to Sam Hill? Really? You scream? Oh, for Christ, trying out loud. And Rob Paulson and Rob always made a point of saying,
DK, isn't it amazing that, we get paid for this? I mean, it's incredible. I mean, the fact we get paid, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's just, wow.
So he's right.
That's a wonderful Paulson impression, by the way.
That was fantastic.
My good friend, Mr. David.
Yeah. He said, and let me just say something about Rob Paulson. You can tag him if you want to. It is impossible to be that nice of a person
he is so like he's so genuinely amazingly nice. I'm like, I could never be that nice.
He is super nice. But very super nice.
Oh my God, I can't. How does one do that? He's a Jedi.
we actually had the chance to talk to him a couple months ago, and my 3-year-old interrupted our interview, and he lit up looking at my daughter and talking to my daughter and doing voices that he knew she would know. And I'm like,
yeah,
do you want to just come watch her for half an hour so I can sleep?
I don't even know how the hell I could go to school to try and learn how to do that, but he's so genuine.
He's just nice. It's weird.
It is. It's something's wrong with that guy. He's just a gem of a human being. And that's the other thing about this business is, there's very few, I could barely count on one finger of the amount of times that somebody's been a real kind of jerk, and not fun to work with. In the voiceover business is it's rare, to come across that, because it's just so much fun.
Yeah. I will say that for all the people that we have met in the voiceover community, that predominantly a much happier bunch than the people who have to stand in front of a camera and look pretty.
Why is that?
I think it's because you guys are having fun and you're doing things that you want to do as a kid, and you're entertaining. Yeah, I think you're entertaining yourself along the way.
It's true, and maybe that's why they all they hire the celebrities. Who say, well, I want to do the behind the mic thing. That looks pretty easy. Yeah. But yeah, maybe it's. I equate it to, Disney. The Peter Pan is one of my favorite Disney iterations of animation or live action, because there's a lot of neat little life stuff in there and little lessons and things. But the biggest thing is about the imagination, and I think a lot of us in this industry have incredible imagination that served us very well in childhood, whether it's through comic books or through whatever. And that is key to, taking a look at a character like this and saying, oh, what would he do if he laughed, or how would he breathe, or how would he, what kind of soul, who is he? And that's a fun game to play, because it's all imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it starts, right?
And I feel too, like you guys get to play with that imagination, and then you don't have the camera pressure. You don't have the paparazzi, even, because people don't see you. They don't necessarily know who you are. They don't put a face to the name.
Thank goodness. That would be exhausting. It would be.
And you get free toys.
I wish I was famous. No, you don't. I like when people recognize me in stores. No, you don't. It's horrible. Stop.
Right? How many of us have hidden from people we went to high school with when we see them in the grocery store in our hometown with the I don't want to talk to you.
I don't even want to. Mother said, you should call those people. I don't want to call them. I don't want to see anybody.
Jeez, I'm pretty sure my brother's hidden from me in the store because he didn't want to talk to me. I get it. It's okay.
I know.
Want to be famous? There's people out there.
Yeah, but behind this, though, you can be anybody you want to, and that's the beauty of being a voiceover person. You can be big and fat and strong, or you
can be small and insignificant, and very.
You can be anything here, so it doesn't matter what. That's the beauty of it. That's the fun.
Absolutely.
So, David, like all heroes and villains, they have an origin story. So I'm just wondering what your origin story is. We can skip the birth unless you were blessed by gods or a witch put a curse on you. But what's your origin story as to how you became a voiceover actor?
Well, it all started in radio in high school, back in my hometown, and up there in Canada. There, it's funny because I'm a very private person, but it's like is it an introvert, extrovert, something? It's like it's a combination of the two.
Ambivert.
And whatever that is. And every home movie theater, every home movie that I would see that my mother kept, the family, they'd be all in it, smiling, and I'd come in like this. I'd be doing weird faces. I want to be the focus of attention. But as I get older, I said, no, I don't want to be the focus of attention at all. So it's interesting that I chose this business. But I was always, every time there was a camera or there was a microphone, I had to, blah, 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 to make funny sounds into it. I would stand in front of the mirror as a kid and doing like weird faces. You ever do that? I caught my son doing it. I know what you're doing, just to see what this is. It kind of started there. And then I got this job behind the scenes at the local cable television station. And I was caught snickering. There was a religious show on, and me and my friend were on the camera. We weren't making fun of anybody. It was just a guy had shot a half-hour show, and we were like, and we got in a lot of trouble for that. And then I got in front of the camera doing a sort of a collector show as a kid, and I really kind of dug that. And then when I was 17 and a half, almost 18, I got a job doing overnight weekends on a local radio station, as a DJ. And that was the coolest thing, because I had radio heroes, people like, Rick Dees, and in Canada, it was John Major at Chum FM, who I wrote. John since passed away quite a number of years ago, but I wrote him, and he wrote me back. And because I really sort of think I wanted to go into this business and make radio a career. And then I got to Vancouver after a few radio stations on the Morning Zoo on the LG 73. And I was doing all kinds of characters like Cowboy Dick, howdy boys and girls, gonna write a little song, about a pet chicken. And I'd do that and some of the characters. And I went to this commercial modeling course because I had all day long after the morning show to do nothing. And my wife said, get out of the house. So I signed up for this goofy course. It was the modeling course, and it was like ridiculous. I think it was just a ploy to get your money. And then the commercial side of it was classes to learn how to, read lines and perform. And the guy who taught it became my first agent and said, you should consider doing this for a career. You'd be pretty good at it. I go, really? He goes, I'll be your first agent. We'll send you some stuff. And then the first, I think 6 weeks later, after I said, sure, I didn't know what I was doing. I got a call from him and said, do you know how to do voices? And I thought, well, sure. I'm on the radio. I don't know. And he said, well, I have an audition for G.I. Joe. And I go, like the G.I. Joe? Like I played with as a kid? He goes, yeah, they're doing a series in Vancouver, Deke Animation. I go, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So I auditioned for that show and had no idea what the hell I was doing. I just remember, yo, Joe, quick, follow me. The old analogy is quick, follow me toward the danger, that type of show,
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up somehow getting hired as General Hawk, the great American hero. And that started. And after that, every time I go into work and do a shift on the radio station, I'm like, this is can I do more? I just wanted to do more cartoons. And I was just like, it's Madonna, LG 73, boom. And I just go back to watching MTV and the monkeys on, and I was just bored. And I really just wanted to do that. And that became my, that was the origin story. It's just like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And I fell in love with it very quickly. And yeah, it's a long-winded answer, but that's sort of how I got to that point. And I could hide behind this. I didn't have to be doing in radio stations. They used to have us go to these silly remotes like, come on down, we're at Joe's car, Joe Shevolds on Lincoln Boulevard, and there's going to be balloons and popcorn for the kids. And I go, I don't want to be out there doing that. That's ridiculous. And so I could be in here doing this with no balloons and popcorn and kids. It's fun.
We like long-winded answers.
Yeah, they're always the best answers. Always the best answers.
And it gives us less time to make fools of ourselves.
There you go.
Bingo. So
Win-win.
Bingo.
It's a double banger there. So good job.
Thank you.
All right, so let's jump a little bit ahead of the scale. We're talking about the very beginning. Let's talk about some of the more recent stuff you've done. Now, you were the voice of Arishem on Eternals, which is a big hit for the MCU, and apparently is helping to set up some other incoming characters quite nicely for this next phase of Marvel movies. So, if you can, tell us how that role came to be and how you prepared to be Arishem, the Judge, the Celestial.
There was an audition that came in, and it was all hush hush, Project X. No one talks about it. Even my agent, the agent, didn't even get the sides. It came directly from casting. My agency agent, Tanya, is amazing, and she has been around a long time. And this casting group has used their clients in the past, and
and I've been circling about on a few things. So I originally thought, this must be for like the Transformers movie, because it was kind of like, so what is this? And we don't know. We just give it a few takes. And I said, okay. So I kind of looked at it and read the scenes, and I'm like, well, I kind of used, I used the voice in here, sort of thing, and I just almost kind of like a Vandal Savage thing that I was doing. And I gave it a few different, takes and things, and I sent it in, and then it was quite a while later. Hey, so good news. That's how they call you. And she said, now, there's no guarantees. You're going to be, you're going to be scratching, and going to be a few sessions, and you're going to be working with Chloe Zhao. And I go, oh, really? Because I just seen Nomadland. I was like, oh my God, this is Chloe. And she lives just over here, not too far away. And it was all during, of course, the pandemic, and nobody was in the studio. And it was very, very cloak and dagger. They bring you the script, and you have to give it right back. And then there's a hard drive and the thing. Nobody knows anything's going on. You can't say anything. And I got a chance to work with them, and we kind of honed in on the voice. And then we did another session, and we worked a little further on some extra dialogue. And by that time, the movie was much in the can, as they say, but it just trying to get that character. So it's interesting they cast me for this particular read I did, but we ended up, I always sort of, there's a Michael Fassbender movie, that Prometheus, very sort of, very calm, very Cersei, it's time, it is time. So we kind of played around with that, and we pitched him down a little bit. And that's sort of where the voice print, it was very, it's like walking the razor's edge with that character, because he doesn't get too upset because he's a god. And then at the very, as we know, we know he is not terribly impressed. And so you walked it. So it was kind of fun to play there. And I love how she directs, because she, instead of like any line reads, she goes, well, what if this? What if she posed a question to you? Well, what if he was this? And what if this was? And so, and that's a lovely way to direct, because she kind of makes you think. And and I still didn't believe until the last minute that I'd be in it. I think, no, they're going to get Michael Fassbender. They're going to get somebody, Who the hell's David Kaye? They're not going to, literally, I was like, it's Hollywood. It's not going to trust me. No. And so I was fully prepared to be disappointed, because I was jaded. I'm jaded by this time now. And then we went to see it in the movie theater, my wife and I, and it just like almost brought tears. Not because like, oh my God, listen to me. It's because my good friend David Hayes, who had passed away this year unexpectedly, he's the one, when we were 12, 13 years old, introduced me to Marvel Comics and DC Comics. And I remember distinctly the Eternals. I remember him saying, I remember down in Sandy's bookstore in my hometown, and I had a stack of Eternals comics, Jack Kirby, and we were going through them. And I remember, and I go, oh my God, here I was 12 years old, my good friend David Hayes, and I'm doing the thing with Marvel. I guess to me, it was like, whoa, that's
very cool.
It was deep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really cool. Goodness, I don't even know where to go from there. Like, that's just like that's goosebump inducing over here. That's awesome. Like,
it's life stuff. It's like you just don't know. You don't know where the journey takes you. I honestly say, where I was born, I kind of think about, well, what if I'd stayed? And I'm like, oh, I get that to me is a nightmare. I went out and I went away. I traveled. I left, and I would be thinking, wow, what would I be doing? What would I? But I just, it's all that imagination. It's Peter Pan, man. It's like, go out, fly.
It's a really cool connection.
So going from one of your most recent roles back to one of your earlier roles.
We're just gonna jump you all around today,
right? It's a game of emotional pinball over here. Sorry about that. But back in the day, you were dubbing for anime series.
Yeah.
There were a couple. Mobile Suit Gundam Wing was one of them that I was looking at. Series like that don't typically have a very high episode count.
Yeah.
So even though you were, some people would say, just dubbing lines, but you're still trying to, as one of the other voice actors we talked to recently, you're still trying to match the lip flap. which is apparently incredibly difficult. And I hadn't thought about how difficult it would be.
Yeah.
Did
It's a
you
skill.
build?
That's a skill like anything. Like, no.
Yeah. Did you build any sort of connection to those characters, especially because they were so early in your career?
Doing the character Sesshomaru now in the this little guy in the Yashahime series that's out there, as opposed to Inuyasha. And I think back, trying to explain, like when you create a character and it's not drawn yet, that's a lot of fun. I always, but you have to bring the same thing into a character that has already been drawn and already been voiced in another, to try and give him a heart and soul. It's a little more, you only have a certain amount of time because you have to match those lip flaps. It's the emotion in the intent, and is a great director on those shows. And I don't know, it's like a skill like anything. All I could try and do is bring truth to the character and try and make him as real as possible without, I don't know, that's something we all try and strive for, is to make a character as real as we can and not be so acty with it, like acty and very and intense and acting and do this thing. It has to be grounded. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the tough things about doing animes is it is, they're far-fetched sort of things, but everything is grounded, right, in reality or in truth in that moment for that character. Mm-hmm. Kind of talking in circles, but it's tough to do. And it's even tougher doing live action dubbing. Oof. That's it's like karaoke. I've done it once, and I'm not sure if I want to do it again. I did it as a favor, but you're looking at the bottom of your screen, and you guys are here, and there's like the lines are coming across in English, and you're seeing the lip, and you're trying to match. It's like literally like karaoke, and you have to act the scene. You're not like saying words. You have to act the scene. If you're crying, right. If the character's crying, you gotta bring it and do it in in karaoke style. You're multitasking, so it is quite a skill, and my hat's off to those who do it a lot. It's not easy.
No, I can't imagine that it would be. It was one of those things that when as we've talked to more voice actors, and I'm like, I never thought about how difficult it would be to try to match a lip flap. Because I've never done it. I didn't have that knowledge source in my head, but learning about it, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that would be incredibly difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus we just like saying lip flap as often as possible.
Oh, right. Lip flap is just fun.
It's a new Transformer character. Hey, lip flap.
Is that a makeup case of sorts?
Right.
So we usually have something that is close and dear to our heart. Was there a lesser known project that you have done that you really hold close to your heart that was just something that was special to you?
Well, boy, there's a number of things under the radar. I did an audiobook recently, and it was I don't do audiobooks because they're a lot of work, and I don't have I did it in the evening under candlelight. I worked with a friend of mine, Brooke Burgess, who was living in Amsterdam, but he wrote a novel, The Cat's Maw, MAW, and I did an audiobook with Brooke because it's kind of neat to work with him. He was in Thailand at the time, and we do it in the evening, and we read a chapter or two at a time, and I had a chance to do a bunch of different voices, and that was really challenging and fun to work with one of your friends and to work on a book like that, an audio book. That's another skill that I just, oh wow, there's a lot of things I've forgotten. The experience of recording Up, for the movie Up for Pixar was one of the moments in your life. You're like, wow, how did I get here? And they flew me up to Pixar Studios and recorded with Pete Docter and the crew there. That, and being at a first Hollywood premiere. That's I forget about that sometimes, how big a deal that was for me and my family. That was my first big Hollywood premiere and a first big movie that won an Oscar. That was neat.
That is cool. Yeah.
That is really cool. Yeah. And it's a good movie.
Oh, that is one of the first movies that made me cry.
Oh, I know. It hits you. It hits you hard.
right in the beginning.
Right? Which
Right,
I mean
right,
is
right.
such a Pixar thing to do.
Oh,
There are so many Disney and Pixar movies that I'll start for my daughter and then I'll walk out of the room for like the first 5 minutes and then I'll come back.
Yeah.
I almost
can't do it.
I didn't. I don't. Was it I think I saw it at the theater. I was like tempted to get up and walk out of the theater, not because I was going to leave the movie, but like I had to I wanted to like get up and kind of compose myself. And I'm like, it's dark in here. It's fine. I'll be fine. Everybody's fine. We'll be fine.
What's really fun is I have a friend who's getting married next month, and her fiance looks like a young Carl Fredricksen. So I found our adventure book. I found a photo album that looks like Ellie's adventure book, and I bought it for their shower present.
That's incredible. Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was so great. As Lexi opened it and just starts, right? Lexi opened it and starts laughing. She's like, I didn't think you'd actually do it. I'm like, I only did this because the Up birdhouse was out of stock.
Oh, yes.
I was going to go for the birdhouse.
There you go. All right. So, David, for my last question for you for tonight, in my opinion, it's saving the best for last, because for me, Star Wars is always the best. And you've had the opportunity to voice several Star Wars characters across the universe, whether it's for the animated series or video games, including General Tandon of Onderon in the Clone Wars.
Gazoon tight.
Yeah.
General Tandon.
So let me ask you this, because this is a question I ask everybody who's done something in the Star Wars universe, because I'm a Star Wars nerd. That's where I hang my hat. Yeah. What did you enjoy most about working in the Star Wars universe because of the size of it? And it's okay if you just say it's the paycheck, because we realize that sometimes it's about the job, not the fandom.
No, to me, this has never been about the paycheck. I'm very fortunate. I have to quote, it's a wonderful life. It really is. But it's never about the paycheck. And it's one of the things I try and tell people: don't think about the money. People get into they see an end product and they don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that go into this thing, and the longevity you need to be good all the time. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Okay, the other part of your question again.
Was there something that you enjoyed about working in the Star Wars universe? Yes. Because you've done both animated and video games.
Yeah, I would ache. One of the things I was aching to do is to have a little something in a live action, in the movies or in the series, because I watch everything. I consume Star Wars like I love it all. The working with our voice director,
Filoni, Favreau.
Thank you, Dave Filoni. Working with Dave Filoni was a joy, and this is before Dave Filoni became an even bigger Dave Filoni. His directing style, being in the room with Jim Cummings and James Arnold Taylor and everybody, and it was very cool when I was in that scene, that show, that iteration of the show. But working with Dave Filoni, it was. There's a lot of voice directors I work with, and they're all been wonderful. Dave is like. Okay, so let's just run the scene. We'll take it from like 4 to 14. We'll just go straight through and we'll start there. And so we do the scene. General, yes, sir. General Tandon, so they're coming to whatever I said, and blah 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 blah. And he goes, okay, yeah, sounds good. You guys know what you're doing. All right, so let's just move on to the next one. I go, wow, it was so like easy and so I don't know. You just I want to work with him again. When can I work with him again? This is because it flows. It just, so relaxed, and he lets you do. And I just had a wonderful experience with Dave. And I saw him an after thing at the Emmy Awards, and his table was over there. And I said, man, it was just such an honor. Thank you again. He goes, oh, hey, Dick, don't worry about it, man. It's not. But it's just to be part of. Any part of that universe, and doing the online games whenever you get a chance to do those. I have done a ton of characters in the online games, and it's just a chance to play and to come up with those voices, just the strange voices, and I just ache to be involved in something live action. I know
that would be cool,
but I love that whole thing. I love it all, man. I'm with you with the Star Wars thing.
Excellent.
Well, because Star Wars is fun.
It is fun. Because, one day, that's what we're going to, one day, one day down the road, some of that's going to be happening. Who knows?
There are parts about that universe I would be okay with.
Yeah, parts of it. Parts of it. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about things that I know from like behind the scenes interviews with the,
Yeah.
it's not the worst.
No.
So as I've already talked about my daughter, I do a lot because she's amazing. She's
your world.
She is. And that's only partially because we're stuck in a pandemic and I can't send her anywhere else.
Oh man, yeah. This it's been tough on everybody. It's just been such a weird.
It's so weird.
Time. I called 5 years.
Oh,
I hope I'm wrong, but
Please
I called.
be wrong.
I called it. I said, nope, 5 years. 5 years before. Who knows? But the cool thing is that we still are able to do our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had home studios. We've always been, and we just kept right on rolling with shows.
Right.
Yeah.
And thank goodness for that. Wow. I was a mess, still a mess, but I was a real mess in the beginning of that. And I was doing the cartoons. We were doing HeMan. We were working on Farzar and a couple shows I was working on. And was like, oh, I can see people. Okay, I can have fun and laugh. And that kept me going. That was my fuel.
So one of the pandemic shows that got us through, I mean, it wasn't done during the pandemic, but we watched it a lot during the pandemic, was Trolls The Beat Goes On. And the Trolls movies back to back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Over and over.
Back to back.
To back.
Over and over.
To back.
So you got to voice King Peppy.
Yes, King Peppy. Yes, King Peppy. He was such a wonderful human being, But I really enjoyed it. And the fact that because I have a daughter and when she was young, just sort of played into that. But he was kind of goofy and crazy, and I just love that the voice.
It's tons of fun. It is tons of fun. So if you existed in the Trolls universe, which of the 6 musical primary music tribes do you think that you'd be part of?
I don't know. I don't know what they are. Can you give me a hint?
They are pop, rock, country, classical, techno, and funk.
The older me would say classical. Younger me would say rock.
I could see you as more of a rock troll.
Is there a classic rock tribe?
Well, no, the rock tribe, the patriarch of the rock tribe is played by Ozzy Osbourne, so I think that would probably work.
Technically, that's classic rock.
That's sort of my AC/DC. I was all over them when they came out.
Oh, yeah. And
Sure.
I mean, there are the smaller groups. There's the K-pop group, but
I think probably the rockers or the classicals, possibly.
the classical ones are a lot of fun too. They're
Depends
like
what mood I'm in, really.
they're more of the classical ones are more of like the cherub floating angel cloudy baby trolls.
I would before we moved out of LA to Ventura County, I had to listen to classical music and easy music when I was driving because it was the only thing that would kind of keep me calm. And I needed that calmness as you're driving in that city or in the city or anywhere really. So
I'm not a big fan of city driving at all.
Yeah.
Like the biggest city I've ever driven in was Chicago, and I hated that.
Yeah, I don't mind. You know what I love driving? I love driving in Rome. When we were in Rome, I went, oh, this is driving. Because it's like a video game. I got back here and I went, oh, everybody's in lines. What's this? No one's anywhere. There you're just like, hey, come on. They just go.
Paris is the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh yeah, the roundabout in Paris.
Around the Arc of Triomphe. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
See where I live.
How people don't die like every 30 seconds and that I don't know because it was. Yeah, I was there when I was 18, almost 19, and I just remember standing there at the edge of the roundabout there, just watching traffic zoom in and out. Like people were cutting across 4 and 5 lanes of traffic, and I'm just like,
it works.
My teeny tiny town's getting a roundabout.
Yeah, you're gonna have tractors stuck.
The local farmers are so angry.
What the Sam Hill is this? What are we supposed to do here?
Right?
We have a Facebook group with over 205,000, I believe.
Would you get them all to follow me? I don't know how people get followers. Tell me there's one that I don't understand at all.
We can't even get them to follow our podcast.
I haven't got a time.
It was a freak accident.
Well, tell them all. Tell them all to say at DKVO at Twitter, because I don't know if I feel like I go on. I go, well, I'm not worth that much now, am I? How do I get worth more?
Well, in our group, it's just a ton of memes, mostly sci-fi, science fiction-y memes, and it's this mixed with this, Star Wars, Star Trek, you name it, it's in there. So which two villains that you have played would you like to see come together to work together?
Well, I think Magneto and Megatron, the M line, that would be kind of fun. Vandal Savage, maybe he can work with him and Megatron. It'd be fun. Yeah, there's a few. Bizarro Superman. Yeah,
we can work with those.
You do now have 5,580 followers.
What, on Instagram?
Yes.
No one follows me on Instagram. You can. How do I do that? See, I don't even know. I am completely clueless about it all.
I was just gonna do I was the 5,580th. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. See.
I'm trying to help.
Oh, thanks.
And making it so much worse. Superpower. I'm really, really good at that. I'm going to make things better. And wrong.
And somehow not the same. All right, David, we're at a point in the show where we like to take our guests through a little bit of a quiz. So this is a 4-question quiz. And if you get 3 of the 4 questions right, we want to send you this book. It's called Custodians of the Cosmos. It's written by Drayton Allen. It's about a young man who joined something quite like Starfleet, but not like Starfleet for litigious reasons. And he wasn't able to make it in. He washed out, but he was able to rejoin as a custodian so he could boldly clean up after those who had boldly just went.
That's brilliant.
Today's quiz, we're calling it the Kaye characterization. So we're going to talk. We have 4 different questions for you, all multiple choice.
Yeah.
About different characters you've played. And so you may or may not know the answer. We'll find out. And if you get 3 of those questions right, like I said, we want to send you the book. If you get 2 or less correct, we'd like to take your picture, make a meme out of you, and put you in our Facebook group.
Okay.
However, if you do get a meme, you are in good company. Dan Povenmire also has one.
Oh, good.
So yeah, so these questions are going to be about characters or universes that you have portrayed a character in.
You didn't use the word. It makes me really sad.
Which word?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, if you get less than 3 questions correct, we take a picture of you. We make a meme out of you. It's called the Fun Sequence.
Thank you.
Fun
Sequence is just like, come on.
Yeah.
I was like, word? What word? I used lots of words.
But not the word, Tim. And not bird.
Apparently.
But anyway, because bird.
All right, Nick, take us out.
What did Arishem use to create the Eternals? Was it A, the World Oven, the World Forge, or the World Series?
The World Forge.
There you go.
Correct.
Very good.
The World Forge.
World oven, I'm suddenly imagining a giant stone pizza oven. I'm not hungry. Okay. All right. Question number 2. Optimus Prime's original name was A, Orion Pax, B, Prime Pax, or C, Orion Prime.
Orion Pax?
That is correct.
Very good.
What?
Yeah, you got it.
Nice guess.
Oh, boy. I seem to recall hearing that before. That's the only one that sounded familiar to me.
What other comic universe helped repair Megatron after a major battle loss? GoBots, Silverhawks, or G.I. Joe?
I have to go with the GoBots.
No, actually, it was Cobra from G.I. Joe.
Really?
Yeah. They helped repair him, and it was at a comic book series with them. It never was animated, but they.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Interesting. That's cool.
There's also a tiny little tidbit about how My Little Pony Unicorns also found Megatron after a different battle loss. So yeah, he's been found by unicorns.
Well, come on. I'm sure they used their magic of friendship to save him. It'll be fine.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry,
they licked him or something, and they gave him the gift of friendship. It was a weird comic book.
That's disturbing. But okay. Question number 4. Clank of Ratchet and Clank can control what kind of robots? A, gadget bots, B, GoBots, or C, Toybots?
Gadget bots.
Very good.
Correct. That was also a really hard question. Ratchet and Clank can control. There's too many consonants.
All right, so that's the book. You won yourself a book. So
And you're no
after we
longer
say
in the risk of being a meme.
Well, David, thank you so much for being on the show today. Where can our listeners go to find out more about you and your book?
Okay. See, in my book, did I write a book?
Did he write a book?
Nope.
Not yet.
That was a bad note from me. You're good.
The pressure is on. I have to write a book.
No. But if you want them to find out about your audiobook that you couldn't remember earlier, you could add that in too.
The cat's maw. It's on Audible, I believe.
There you go.
Really a fun. It's creepy and it's fun and it's really well. But no, here's where you get 250,000 followers. It's at Twitter at DKVO, DKAYEVO. It's awful. Tara Strong hates it, but I'm not like,
I don't know what this social media thing.
So, and then on Twitter, or on Instagram, it's also the same at DKVO on Instagram, and DavidKaye.com at the website. It's got everything on the website, all the stuff. It's got all kinds of pictures and the trailers that I do and all this different stuff that I'm involved with. And there's a new very adult show that's dropping on July 14th. The trailer is out, called Farzar, and it's very adult. So only those who, like Paradise PD and Brickleberry and things like that.
Okay.
It's very fun. But HeMan is out there right now. It's dropped. The second series, and I really enjoy this Masters of the Universe, and it's so much fun to do. We got the Young Justice, Vandal Savage, and that is an amazing series. And Vandal's such a great character. He's just, I just love one of my favorite DC villains. What else? We got a bunch of stuff I can't talk about. There's
those are always so much fun, though.
There's the new game, Psychonauts 2 is out.
And I play Ford Cruller, honey pepper ball bacon, and
it's quite a ride. And of course, Ratchet and Clank on the PS5, and somehow my son has a PS5 and I don't, so I haven't really had a chance to play through. But it's amazing. It looks incredible. There's more. There's a bunch of stuff coming out that I can't see. This movie trailers that are happening out there. Star Wars, the Lego Star Wars. Speaking of, you might hear. This summer, this July, you might hear me doing those. Harry Potter trailers were out. Did that latest movie, and of course, Yashahime is on with the Shishomaru. And if you haven't binged that yet, it's you can get that all the way through to the end of the season. And also, we're going to make a couple of appearances this year, and I believe end of August, BotCon is back. And we're going to be appearing in Nashville, Tennessee. And we'll be Frank Welker and I will be there. That's August 27th weekend in Nashville, Tennessee. Where else? Let's see where we're going to be this year. In the GameCon in Phoenix, Arizona. And that happens August 5th, 6th, 7th weekend. And we're all about Ratchet and Clank out there in Phoenix. Yeah, there's a bunch of all this stuff coming up. And Trans TFCon will be happening in October. Late October in Chicago, your favorite city to drive in.
Yes.
We'll be there. Yeah.
So much better just to take the train.
Oh, yeah. That's no problem. So, yeah, there's lots. I hope the world cooperates with us a little bit so we can all do these things and be safe and wonderful.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah. There you go.
Awesome. Well, we will definitely link your socials and your website.
Please. Yes.
So that people can find all of the wonderful things that you can talk about, and they will know where to look for the things that you can't talk about yet.
Exactly. All right, guys, we want to remind you that subscribing is the single most important thing that you can do to ensure that we get more amazing guests like David Kaye here today and funny moments for you to be able to listen to. So please subscribe. It helps us more than we can ever really tell you. And please be sure to go to davidkaye.com, check out what David's got going on there, and follow him on his socials, both at Instagram and Twitter at DKVO. I had to look at my notes there. But if you, for whatever reason, you are not happy with the content of our show today, please feel free to lodge a complaint with the head of our complaint department, Megatron, the leader of the Decepticons. And believe me when I say that it won't matter if we swear allegiance to him or not, because he's he's got Starscream kissing up all the time. He's pretty used to that game. So no matter what, the offending party's in big trouble with a big, scary, angry robot. I'm sorry, cybernetic organism with a desire to dominate everyone. This won't end well for us.
Thanks again, David.
Oh, gosh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
That's going to conclude us today for the FSF Popcast.
Bye.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF Popcast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSFPopcast, or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the Contact Me link. Thanks again, and hope you enjoyed the episode.